Thanks to everyone who have subscribed. If you have not, please do. And thanks for coming out here. I really appreciate you. Now, wow, Nigerians, you'll be surprised at what it's going on in Nigeria. I'm talking about President Muhammadu Personal Aids, CSO, Chief of Staff, imposing law, leading and ruling Nigeria. You see the emphasis at which I'm stressing the words. You can imagine it for yourself. It's now that Abba Kyari is dead and buried that the bounds imposed on some matters in Nigeria are being looked at. Let's look at the news. Federal government lifts bound imposed by Buhari's late chief of staff, Kyari, on health minister's procurement. You know, when they said Aisha Buhari was saying that, Abba Kyari was the one holding the money to the health facilities of Nigeria. Some people wrote on Apple Live Media fake news. That was the first thing she said when he contracted coronavirus. That was the first thing she said. She said he was not paying health people. She was owing them. She was the reason why the hospital in Aso Rock was not well funded, does not have the basic necessity to cater for this, that they have to be flying people from Abuja to Lagos. I'm talking about the presidential villa does not have a standard hospital in the nation of Nigeria. And Buhari's wife, Aisha Buhari no go quiet. He go definitely blow the trumpet. Say, now because of this woman, because of this man, those things are not in place. That since Buhari came, over 11 point something billion that has been allocated for the health, equipment and the rest is in Abba Kyari's personal account. Current account, she said, precisely. Please refer to our former news and see for yourself. Some people said fake news. I tell you sincerely, we got it. We got it and we are wondering, seriously? Let's go to the news so you can truly understand what we are talking about. Federal government is just lifting ban imposed by Buhari's late chief of staff, Kyari, on health minister's procurement. Hey, now wow, my God. There seems to be resistance coming the way of the Minister of Health, as federal policies requesting the Minister of Health to go through the Minister of Agriculture for his procurement and other funding needed to be lifted. The health minister can now handle all his contracts and procurement without unnatural routing through the agricultural minister, a senior government official told the nation. According to the reports, prior to the new adjustment, health minister with about 119 agencies, apart from its inability to make his own procurement, including stationaries, could not monitor its project at all. Funds must be approved by the permanent secretary, Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. The policy affected the ministry ability to monitor the agencies and their work. The health minister had to get approval from the agricultural ministry to access 10.5 billion to be able to fund capital materials to be able to equip hospitals and what have you. According to the sources, the health minister was asked to get approval from the Minister of Agriculture before he can do anything. This was the things put in place by Buhari's late Chief of Staff, Abba Kyari. Apparently, the Minister of Agriculture was put there in respect to Abba Kyari. Abba Kyari then ordered the Minister of Health to always go through the Minister of Agriculture. The sources said one of the causes of the fraction among them between the duel was that the minister's decision was suspended by the Executive Council of the National Health. And however, the late Abba Kyari was the one in charge to make sure who gets what and what was to be procured. Whenever the Minister of Health wants to make procurement, permanent secretary will raise a memo which will be sent to the Ministry of Agriculture. In some instances, the permanent secretary of the agriculture will give directives or as to what to be bought and what not to be bought. and will cancel some of the order and will approve based on his discretion and tell the Ministry of Health what they need and what they don't need. Ministry of Agriculture telling Ministry of Health, no wonder we don't have ventilators in Nigeria, my people. Can you believe? The lifting of the ban will be a great benefit to the Ministry of Health. Hey, as a bypass, not going through the Ministry of Agriculture for them to be able to get the basic necessity to equip the health sector. Can this be true? Did you just hear that? So these are some of the things that I told you. Abba Kyari was the one ruling the nation. The daughter said they should allow her father to rest in peace. These are some of the things your father did, oh baby. Where you day? Are you hearing? That your father was the one ruling all through the matter. You hear Buhari name? Did you hear Buhari? Now they are only just looking into this matter because yesterday Buhari appointed a dead person. Yes, took the name to Senate for the person to be appointed, and it went viral. The person don't die since February 27. This is what, April. They don't even know those that are in their whatever. That's why dead people, they receive money, living people not get job, that they suffer. So Abba Kyari is the one in charge, saying what ministers, you see these ministers, eh? If you know many of them are under bondage, how many of them have to go and pay secret homage by night, by day? You'll be amazed. I'm telling you. You will seriously and critically be amazed. You will not believe what I'm telling you. These are some of the things going on in Nigeria. You are just hearing this one now, and guess what? They just lifted this ban on Minister of Agriculture, or Minister of Health. That really and truly you can now procure what you need. No wonder there were no ventilators. There are no necessary things that they need to be able to carry out all their work because of all these things that are going on in Nigeria. Nigerians, Abba Kyari was the brain, the voice, the direction of Buhari. I'm telling you, you would not believe it. Abba Kyari was the one making sure of what goes on in Nigeria and how it goes on. Abba Kyari was the one that speaks. You are only seeing Buhari there standing. The real person leading Nigeria. You can see now that he's dead. You can feel his impact. Buhari cannot even give a live broadcast. He can't give a live broadcast. There is so many abnormalities, so many injustice, so many shady things that are going on in Nigeria that if you hear about it, you will not believe it. I'm telling you, you will not believe it. And have you ever heard this man talking about that there was a ban on his department? He cannot procure anything. Have you heard it before? Have you heard it before? You are hearing it now. Abba Kyari was the one that placed that ban and said, you know what, you cannot buy anything, you cannot procure anything unless Minister of Agriculture. So Abba Kyari has so many things on his hands. He handed him over to Minister of Agriculture. So he can bring a list and say, okay, we want to do this. Guess what they will do? They will take Minister of Agriculture will look at the list and say, no, you don't need this. They will cancel and write and say, you need this, you don't need this, you don't need this amount. That's Ministry of Health I'm telling you about in this Nigeria. So what do you think is actually going on in this country? What do you think is actually going on in Nigeria? Because there seem to be so many irregularities, so many evil proceeding in our democracy. It's supposed to be democracy where every ministry, although accountable, although be able to give accounts and be able to be looked at, audits should be going on as to what they are doing, what's going on, who is in charge, but guess what? My people, who not go, no, no. That's the matter. If you not go, you not know. There is a lot of evil going on in Nigerian politics, and you will not believe it to what extent. You will not believe it. Abba Kyari placed other ministers, on a watchdog. You say, you, police Sam, you decide what he does. If he doesn't do this, do that. If he does that is what is going on. That is what it is, my people. Anyway, my people, what do you think? I would like you to leave me a comment. Don't forget to like and share. So subscribe if you have not, so we can keep you up to date. You can get all our latest news. both in Nigeria and around the world. Thank you very much for listening. Please, I would like to hear your thoughts on this matter. What do you really think is going on in Nigerian politics when somebody else is the one ruling and leading the country? God bless. Bye for now.